Okay. You can't even really see, but there's the bed. This is the room. You can't see. Hey guys, welcome to my DIY Colorado bedroom project. So this is my family house, and I lived there my entire life until I moved to LA when I was 23. When I moved out, my sister took my room, and so every time that I've come home to visit my mom and my sister, I didn't have a room, which kind of made me feel a little sad and out of place. So over the long winter break, I decided that I was going to make myself my own little room in my mom's house. So this is the beginning of the project. It just starts with the bed. So a lot of you guys have been asking, about the dollhouse, like, where do you even start? My suggestion is to start with a base color and a base piece of furniture. So this bed I found at a kind of like a thrift store. I was able to haggle them down from $400 to $210, which is actually a little bit more than I was hoping to pay, but it's a really beautiful bed. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing my first layer of paint, like obviously. The paint is Behr paint, and you can get that at Home Depot. It's by far probably the best that you can get. The color is called Blowing Kisses. It looks white right now, or some sort of cream color, but it's actually a very, very light pastel pink. So you'll notice as I'm putting this on, the paint job kind of looks crappy. It's actually supposed to look like that. So when you do your first layer, it's kind of like a wash. It's basically your primer. You'll notice that I actually didn't sand anything down before I started. None of the pieces of furniture that I painted are sanded at all. And I'll tell you why. I have painted almost everything in my gosh darn house for many years, and I've just found that sanding doesn't really do anything. I think the idea behind it is it takes the wood down from like the varnish or whatever stain it has. Like you can see the stain coming through right here. It's kind of bleeding through the paint a little bit, but like to sand all of that down would take hours and hours and hours, and it's exhausting. Also, people like to make the wood a little bit smoother. They like to take whatever texture is off of it and maybe make the wood a little bit more porous, hence more absorbable, again, if that makes sense. Anyway, so all you need to do is first wash, and then 5 coats later, this is what it looks like. You can see the light pink here. The mint that I'm using, oh god, I can't remember the name. It was like Mint Seafoam Wash or something like that. But you'll notice that this paint is actually going on a lot faster. I don't have to do a primer wash, a second wash, and then a third wash, or layer. You start with one base color through the entire piece, and then you, like every other layer, you just have to do one layer so it's opaque and it stands out. So yeah. This bed is very old. They told me that it was from the 1800s. I kind of don't believe that very well, but it's a full bed, and back then the beds were actually kind of smaller, so it's only like a little bit bigger than a twin bed. Oh, and here's my crucifix that I found at the same shop. I actually found a lot of knickknacks there, and I told my mom I think Christ would have liked the color pink. And here are the side panels and just kind of little detailing that I'm doing. So yeah, I'm just putting down the mint and then going in with the gold paint for all the details. I honestly didn't have too much of a plan going into it. I kind of just wanted to see how it would look. Like I had an idea of my color scheme, but this was honestly like kind of trial and error, especially with the gold paint, because I had never worked with this gold paint before. I think this is called Gilded. This is also from Home Depot. So I like this paint. But the annoying thing about it is it's kind of translucent, so if you're doing tiny little edges like this, it takes a couple layers, which is really annoying because you have to be really careful, and this was a really, really big piece, so this was definitely the most tedious part of the entire project, is going in with a tiny little brush, just painting all those little edges. It took forever, and it took maybe like 2 layers to do. So with little details like this, you kind of just have to be patient, just take your time, and obviously make sure that you have the right tools to do this. Like I had to buy special little tiny paint brushes to be able to do all these details. So yeah, if you try to do that with any other type of brush, you're gonna be angry. Okay, so with the bigger pieces of embellishment right here, or not embellishment, just like the side pieces, I'm using a darker pink. It's only slightly darker, but this one was called, I think it was called Sweetheart. And it's kind of like a very light pastel bubblegum pink. As it's drying, you'll see it getting a little bit darker, but it was just like another layer to add to kind of bring the piece together, to add just like a little bit more dimension to it. So I'm using that for all the little bigger detail pieces, and also doing that with a little brush. I did end up doing 2 layers on the Sweetheart color. I think honestly just because my eye was tricking me, and before it dried down it still looked like a lighter pink, so I kept adding layers, but you can see on the back panel there on the headboard how much darker it is. And yeah, going back in with the gold paint forever and all eternity. After I finished the bed, I wanted to get a vanity, so I found this bad boy on Craigslist for $100. In hindsight, I probably should have gotten it for cheaper because when I showed up, it was like not in the best shape, and it definitely was not an antique. So I'm doing the same sort of technique here. I'm just doing a light wash, basic like first coat, make it a primer, and you'll even notice this vanity actually has kind of like a shiny finish to it, like a shiny varnish. And again, I didn't sand this, and the paint is fine. So as long as you do kind of like your first coat like this, just very light, very like washed out, it's gonna be fine because that's going to ensure that your paint is going to be kind of buildable after that. Hi. Did you want to help? Oh no. Oh no. Why nobody want to help? It was steal. What you help me with? I paid your fucking phone bill, for one. Yeah, nobody wanted to help me with this project, but I honestly don't blame them because this is a very tedious and long project. Doing an entire room in 1 or 2 weeks is very, very exhausting, and I'm still exhausted from it, but at least my sister was there to keep me company and make me coffee, and so were the dogs. Seth, what do you think about thrift shopping today?
What do you mean?
Want to go to the thrift store?
Just say no, Seth.
Why does no one want to do what I want to do? Stop it!
You already went thrift shopping.
I want to go again. Maddie, will you just hand me the camera? Do you want to hold the camera?
No, I want to be on the camera.
Okay, hand me the camera.
I'm a star.
Maddie!
Are you reading,
Nope.
Oh.
I just didn't want it to get paint all over it. This is all your stuff. Here.
Make sure you take the little handles off of any sort of like drawers that you're gonna do. I use a spray paint. You're usually not supposed to use spray paint for metal. It doesn't quite work as good, but you can. You just have to do it again in layers. So your first layer should be really, really light and then build from there, let it completely dry, and then it's fine from there. So now I'm putting on the teal paint. Like I said, I had no plan for this. I kind of just was eyeballing it as I went along and just kind of experimenting, seeing how things looked. You'll notice those little door handles that for the vanity were teal at first, and then I decided I was going to do the panels of the drawers teal, and then I had to paint the handles pink. So it's just, you know, one of those things you gotta just try out and see if it works. Okay, so this is a photo of my great-great-great aunt. What was her name, Mom? Bessie?
Gilliland.
Bessie Gilliland. It's pretty cool. We got this from my mom's mom, my grandma, and she had a big box full of these old photos of our extended family and wrote who they are. So anyway, I found this frame, and I painted it the same gold to match that. And I'll put it inside, and I think it's gonna look cute. My mom was showing me this box of family photos. Like, these are really old. Look at this. And like this is Grandpa Clark, Mom?
That's Harold.
This is Harold? Damn, he's fine. He's hot. Hold on. There's another one in here. Like, look at this. Is that from Civil War, Mom?
I don't know. Turn it over.
He's wearing some sort of uniform. I can't read that. This is on my great-grandmother's handwriting and I can't read it. I can't even believe I'm related to this guy. This guy's so fucking cool. God, these are so amazing and so beautiful. Like, you never really know where you come from, and it's kind of cool. This is my first time actually seeing, like, my ancestors and my extended family. It's pretty cool, and, like, seeing a little bit of history. What's this back here? Oh, God these are so cool, and they're like printed on, it's kind of like a cardboard thing, like it's very rough, it's very solid, it's oh my god! These are just amazing. I'm so happy we have these. So I'm gonna display a couple of these around my room. Look at this! It's weird because like looking at all those people like pretty much look exactly like me. Oh, he is very serious. And then this one is like one of my favorites. This is my great grandmother Elizabeth. So reupholstering chairs like this is pretty dang easy. All you have to do is unscrew the panel and then choose a different, fabric that you want. You can go right on top with a staple gun. This is a chair we've had forever. It was my grandma Charlotte's. It's about 100 years old, and actually it had a lot of like nails poking through it, so it was a good thing that I took it apart and took those nails out. And then, yas, queen! Here is my grandpappy's like little table that nobody wanted. So I noticed it had claws on it, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna paint these nails. That's gonna be fire. Okay, so I got a ton of these little knick-knack things at the thrift store, and like in Colorado, you can find them everywhere. And I guess in Colorado, Victorian stuff is not in trend, but in Los Angeles, something like this could easily be 80 bucks, and I got this for $1. This was $1, these were $2 each. I think the frame was $1. I mean, this isn't even all of it. There's another box downstairs, so I'm going to decorate this blank room. Oh, and I got my pink Jesus up there, I feel like Christ would have really liked the color pink, especially the baby pink, I feel like he's rocking it. And then this is a portrait that was done of me when I was about 17 years old. This boy named Carl painted of me, and he was also 17. He was a boy in my class, and he taught me how to paint. So this is kind of the only thing I have to remember him by. These are vintage little Japanese lamb planters. I usually use this for my makeup, so I'll probably put, lipstick in here, maybe brushes in here. This is my mom's, or I guess it was my grandma Charlotte's at one point. I'm not really sure. We have a lot of that kind of stuff. This is an Armaloo makeup displayer. These were pretty popular in the 50s and 60s. Armaloo is basically a technique of gilding little objects with gold. So that's what that is. This is a lipstick holder. Usually you can find these on eBay for, anywhere from $6 to $25 to $100. This thing I found for, $4 because it's not in the best shape. Yeah. And then here's another lammy planter. And I just love the color scheme. So pretty. So here is the final look, at least for now. I think I might want to paint the walls next time that I come back, but I'm not really sure. So yeah, everything kind of fit in perfect. I didn't think that I was going to be able to stuff this much stuff into that room. It's basically a small 10 by 10. This room in particular, I was in from like, I don't know, maybe age 6 to 15. So there's a lot of memories in this room, and it's kind of cool to, oh, there's my son begging for attention as usual. Look at how adorable he is and how perfect. I love this dog so very much. Yeah, so it's kind of cool to reinvent the room and just kind of see it in a different light and a different perspective. And oh, here's my son again, begging for attention. God, you're a monster. So there were a lot of new things that I bought for this room, but there were actually a lot of old things that were just lying around the house. Like, I loved using the family photos in this room, and I thought that it was kind of cool to feature them and give them a little bit more of attention because they were kind of just sitting in a shoebox. One of my favorites, this is my grandma Betty Ballard Lynn, and this is her baby portrait. And I thought it was cool because there's like a pink tint to it. I don't know what they did with it. But yeah, so there's my room. There's the Easy Bake Oven box cover that my mom's on. And also, sorry for these camera angles. This is like the worst camera shoot job that I've ever done because I didn't have my tripod. But yeah, this is my room that I worked really, really hard on. Yay, like and subscribe and give my son attention.